Enjoy question of the day. Have you had your first kiss, and if so, was it special? I thought he'd be angry or maybe even a little cold towards me after I kind of rejected him that night in our room. But he wasn't, which definitely earned him some brownie points. Nothing changed between us. After our hug, I put the jewelry away in a special place in my closet. Then we got into bed and watched an episode of Pretty Little Liars as if nothing happened. Well, one thing did change. He hasn't stopped touching me. He insisted on keeping an arm around me while we watched our show and then when we went to sleep. He even did it in public, which was when he lost those brownie points he earned. The next day at breakfast, he made sure I sat next to him again. The following day, he pulled my chair even closer to his. Then the next day, he put his arm around the back of my chair. He did it so casually you'd think we were actually together or something. It's like he never heard me say I need time. No, he decided to do that, and on the same day, his sister arrived in Sicily during breakfast. She was the one who told me only family were allowed to sit at this table. So imagine how bad it looked when Costa kept an arm around me. The commotion coming down the hallway had my eyes widening, my spoon halfway to my mouth. I had no idea she was coming so early in the morning, but apparently everyone else at the table did. Tristano pushed his chair back in preparation, but the rest of them continued eating as if nothing was going on. I tried multiple times to nudge his stupid arm away from me, but all I received was a breathy chuckle from my husband. Riviera bounded into the kitchen, stealing all the attention like I would expect from someone like her. The only one who got up to hug her was Tristano, her twin brother. The twins continued eating like she wasn't even in the room. Rocco didn't bother getting up, and neither did Costa. He also made sure I couldn't get up, taking away my problem of trying to decide if I should be friendly or not. Rocco. She smiled at her brother, who only hummed in response, scrolling through his phone. Then her gaze shifted towards the head of the table where Costa and I were sat, her eyes becoming dangerously cold. The tense silence that followed was enough to catch everyone's attention, and soon all eyes were on Costa and I. It's nice to see you again, Rivera. I forced on my most pleasant smile, lying through my teeth. It didn't matter, though. She just continued to stare at the two of us. Mama. Her daughter's voice was the thing that forced her to look away. It was only when I turned to look at Costa, noticing the expression on his face, that I realized what just happened. She wasn't staring at me, she was having a stare down with him. My husband clenched his jaw, still watching his sister while she tended to her toddler beside her. "You okay?" I whispered. His eyes moved towards me, softening a little but not very much. He replied, which I think was meant to be a yes. Or it could have been a "bitch, shut up and let me glare at my sister in peace." "Millie?" Aiden called my name, taking my attention away from my still furious husband. "Are we still going shopping today?" "Yes, if you want to." I smiled, taking a bite of my food. "Shopping for what, bro?" Giovanni frowned. "Nothing." Aiden shook his head, averting his gaze to his stack of pancakes and waffles. "Shopping for what, Millie?" Egeo shamelessly tried again with me this time. Nothing." I cringed at my awkward reply, earning a laugh from Rocco. "Whatever it is, it's something stupid." Rocco laughed again, poking fun at his younger cousin. "It's not stupid." I defended Aiden, causing Rocco to look up from his phone and at me. "Then what is it?" He goaded me. "I can't say, boss bitches don't snitch, but it's not stupid. It's for his girlfriend, right?" Tristano jumped in, eyeing Aiden with a grin. "No." Aiden glared at him, his cheeks turning a light shade of pink. "You have a girlfriend?" Riviera asked, causing the chatter to die down again. Aiden awkwardly cleared his throat, speaking directly to his cousin for the first time since she came into the room. Sigh? When? How? She scoffed incredulously, coming across a lot bitchier than she should have towards her own cousin. Seriously, I was ready to strangle her with her own hair for the way she spoke to him. I get a little protective. It just happened. Millie helped me. Aiden muttered, his eyes now back on his breakfast, something he does when he's uncomfortable. Usually the twins are both so confident and forward that it was strange seeing him so reserved. You, she scoffed, her eyes meeting mine. What did you threaten the poor girl or something? We all know that's how you Greeks get your business done. This bitch is dying right now. I made a move to get up from my chair, but like he could read my fucking mind, Costa tightened his arm around me before I could. Don't test me, Riviera. Long gone was the fake smile I used to try and be nice to her when she first came in. As soon as Costa lets me go, I'm going straight for her. I didn't bring my favorite knife down to breakfast, but the butter knife should do the trick. I just had to make sure I didn't get blood on Costa's hoodie. He wouldn't be happy. I've been gone for 5 months and you've already managed to worm your way into my family. She glared at me, her green eyes appearing the most vicious out of the entire family. What? I haven't wormed my way, you're in my mama's chair. A stunned silence fell around the table, or maybe it was just a stunned silence for me. Tristano released a frustrated breath while Rocco pinched the bridge of his nose, looking up at the ceiling. The twins looked between us with expressions of worry, but it was Costa I was most concerned about. He was looking at his sister like he was ready to kill her. She crossed a line, and even she knew it, judging by the way she took a step backwards under his venomous glare. Your mother's chair, I spoke so softly, confusion lacing my voice. It wasn't the fact it was his mother's chair that confused me. I understood they probably kept it vacant after she passed away out of love and respect for her. What confused me was the fact Costa could have chosen the other seat that was vacant on his right. The dining table seated 10 people. With Costa at the head and his brothers and the twins sat in their favorite places, there were usually 5 seats free. Costa always had both chairs free either side of him. But he chose the one on the left when he asked me to sit with them. I could have just sat on the other side, Costa. You're my wife. That was his only response before he went back to silently eating his breakfast. The room was filled with the most awkward silence I've ever experienced. Ever. Eventually, Riviera sat down at the other end of the table next to Tristano, plating up food for herself and her daughter from the breakfast spread. So what are you getting, Brianna? Giovanni brought the conversation back to Aiden and his girlfriend, Bianca. In unison, Aiden, Rocco, and Tristano all corrected Giovanni, Bianca. Giovanni nodded, shoveling his waffle into his mouth. I don't know, I need to get her a Christmas present, but it has to be special. It's our first Christmas together. Aiden admitted, that same pink tinge on his cheeks. Okay. Rocco released an exaggerate sigh. He put his phone down, leaning back in his chair. Let Daddy help you. Daddy? I scrunched up my nose, much to Rocco's amusement. Sigh, I have the most experience with women here. He said it like it was a good thing. That makes me daddy. That's not true, Tristano scoffed, sipping on his coffee. No, Rocco cocked an eyebrow at his older brother. No, Tristano shook his head. I have my fair share of experience, and so does Costa. Oh, you do? My aggressive side accidentally came out when I turned to look at my husband, who had a small smile playing on his lips. I'm not involved in this conversation. He chuckled under my heated glare, taking a bite of his oats. Whatever, we all know I'm the most experienced. Rocco waved his brothers off, turning to Aiden with a grin. So you need a present? Yeah. I think Aiden was ready to leave the room. I wouldn't have blamed him. Bro, have you considered underwear? Giovanni jumped in, turning to look at me. What's the fancy word for it? Lingerie? I frowned while the rest of them laughed. Riviera silently rolled her eyes while she fed her daughter. Yeah, that, bro, get her lingerie. Giovanni said it so seriously, so seriously. God help the woman who he eventually settles down with. I'm not doing that. Aiden shook his head. She'll hate it. You need to get her something meaningful, something that's not completely sexist. I added, earning a nod of agreement from Aiden. Who doesn't want a sexy Christmas gift? Gio frowned. Sexist, not sexy. I clarified, but he still stared at me with that blank expression. He had no clue. Are you serious about her? Rocco asked Aiden, who nodded without hesitation. I am. She's my beast friend. Awa. You should get her a promise ring. Rocco sighed as if he'd just exerted himself, stretching out his muscles. His job was done, apparently. A promise ring? Aiden frowned, looking over at me. It's a ring you give to a girl you intend on marrying in the future, just not right now, or it's just a strong show of commitment. I explained. While Aiden mulled over the suggestion, I turned to look at Rocco with a frown. How do you know what a promise ring is? I already told you, Millie, I'm daddy. He grinned, earning a round of chuckles from his brothers and a shake of the head from me. I'll do that. Aiden nodded. Millie, will you help me choose one? Why don't you ask Daddy? My dig had everyone else laughing while Rocco narrowed his eyes at me, although I'm sure I saw his lips twitch into a smile. The rest of breakfast that day was spent discussing Aiden's promise ring gift. Giovanni was adamant he should also get Bianca some lingerie, and I'm sure, at one point, he was close to convincing his poor twin it was a good idea. Thankfully, Costa interrupted the conversation when he announced everyone should stop gossiping and get to work. As normal, they all went off to do their own thing, which meant the still silent Riviera was left alone to finish her breakfast. I didn't even care that her homecoming was ruined. She deserved it for the way she spoke to Aiden. I did some work for a couple of hours before going shopping with Aiden for his gift. Unfortunately, Gio decided to tag along too. Christmas came around a lot faster than I expected it to. During those 2 weeks, we were busy working or attending different Christmas parties and events. I hardly got any time to spend alone with Costa, mostly because he was suddenly playing catch-up after slacking for 3 weeks while he was hurt, his word not mine. Thankfully, his injuries were nicely healed by the time Christmas Day arrived. From what he explained, they usually do the presents in the morning after breakfast, and then they have a light family lunch. After that, they just spend time together before the rest of their top officials, and capos in La Famiglia arrived for their dinner. But I didn't want to give Costa his presents in front of anyone, so I did it in our room when we woke up. Don't laugh, okay? I warned him, struggling back over to the bed with the boxes I stored in my closet. Okay. He smiled, leaning against the headboard. It's important to mention he was shirtless, something he's been more comfortable doing since he told me how he felt. It's like all the boundaries were eliminated, even when I specifically said I needed time. I've come up with a theory, though. I think he couldn't take the hit to his ego, and he's been pretending in his head I never rejected him. So he's sleeping shirtless and holding me in his arms at night because he thinks we're a couple. Not that I'm complaining, for real anyway. His eyes followed me as I climbed on the bed, handing him the first box. The first one was the most simple, a gold, diamond-encrusted Rolex with gold hands and a dark green dial. You didn't have this color when I checked. I smiled shyly, admitting to going snooping through his closet while he took the watch out of the box. It has your initials on the back. Costa turned the watch over, revealing the CSA that was engraved on the back. Costantino Salvator Accardi. He has watches from brands that are more expensive than Rolex, but he doesn't wear those as regularly. So I thought it would be a nice everyday watch. At least he can get some use out of it. I love it. Okay, next one. I struggled to hand him the second box, much to his amusement. I barely even managed to drag it out of my closet. This one was huge, but it had to be. You know, the watch would have been enough. He murmured with a teasing smile, opening up the second present. This one was a huge photo of him, his brothers, and the twins from the wedding day. I had it framed to go on the wall in his personal office, either in Sicily or New York. We never went through the wedding album together, but when I did, I really liked that photo. The photo somehow captured all their individual personalities in one shot. Acosta was looking straight ahead, confidently standing in the center of the group as the leader and head of their family. Tristano had a hand on his shoulder, indicating his support as his future right-hand man. Rocco was next to them, a subtle glare on his face from being forced to take another photo, although his eyes shone with pride. And the twins were looking at Costa because they always looked up to him. Do you like it? Sigh. He continued to stare at the photo for another few seconds before clearing his throat. Why didn't you choose the one you were in? It was our wedding day. Maybe because Rocco, the idiota, was glaring at me in that particular photo. Because it wasn't the right present for that. My cryptic response had him frowning while I handed him the third box, another small one. This was the one I was the most nervous for. Acosta put the large frame on the floor, leaning it against the bed before he opened the final gift. I know you don't wear them often, but I thought it was a nice idea, maybe for special occasions. I shifted nervously, watching him take pocket watch out of the box. It was one of those old-style watches with a chain which men clip onto their suit, keeping the watch in their pocket. It opens to reveal the watch inside, but often with a picture inside like a locket. The case of the watch was gold, and on the back I had our wedding date engraved on the back. Inside, there was photo of us during our first dance. I had my head resting on Costa's chest, one hand on his shoulder and one intertwined with his. His other arm was around my waist and his eyes were looking down at my face. Come here. He opened his arms for me after analyzing the third gift. I shuffled across the bed, resting my head in the crook of his neck and throwing my arm over his waist. You're welcome. I was glad my face was hidden, otherwise he would have seen the blush forming on my cheeks. I hate it when he kisses my cheek. Well, I like it, but I also hate it. So did you get me anything? My blunt question caused his chest to rumble beneath me. Did you want something, Principessa? I lifted my head to see him smirking at me. Not from you. I scoffed, attempting to get out of his grip. Unfortunately, he was way stronger than me, so I just tired myself out. Hold on. Once I was done trying to get out of his grip, he released me so he could reach into his nightstand. I moved back, trying to hide my excitement. One thing I can say without a doubt is that he gives the best gifts. Even though he's only actually given me a dress and the diamond jewelry set. But he has the rest of our marriage to make up for his lack of gifts. That's it? I frowned when he pulled out one small box, just one. Yep. He grinned, getting comfortable again as he leaned against the headboard. But it's special. Special how? I frowned, eyeing the simple black box. Give me your hand. He held his hand out expectantly, so I moved closer to him. With his free hand, he opened the box, slipping something out. Then he slid it onto my finger. My ring finger. He didn't say anything, but he didn't have to. I already knew exactly what it was and truly how special it was. Costa. My voice was thick with emotion while he continued to hold my hand, neither of us looking away from the ring. I can't take it. Yes, you can. No, I shook my head, trying to keep a hold on my emotions. I don't want it. Millie. It's her ring. I cut him off, my tearful eyes now meeting his. I can't take her ring. You can, he repeated softly yet extremely firmly. I told you before she would have liked you, and I meant it, Millie. I'd never give it to anyone who I thought she wouldn't like. But you said it slipped out before I could stop it, even though I cut myself off. Did you actually think I would give my mother's ring to you? You're not worth it, and you never will be. His words from our engagement party repeated themselves in my head, and I know he was thinking about them too. Costa clenched his jaw, averting his eyes down to the diamond ring on my finger. A tense silence fell between us, but he refused to let go of my hand. I'm sorry. His voice was strained and thick, barely coming out above a whisper. There was something so intense about the expression on his face when he looked at me, maybe others outside of our world would find it strange. But I understood it immediately. A man like Costa doesn't show vulnerability easily. It's something you're taught in the Mafia is a weakness. You don't show emotions like crying, ever. So you learn how to convey your emotion through your expression. I saw it that day when Giovanni was shot, and I saw it on Christmas Day when he gave me his mother's ring. There was so much guilt and pain in his eyes. The raw emotion broke my heart, but at the same time, also confirmed to me exactly what I needed to know. And it was enough for me enough to completely move on from everything that had happened between us in the past. I forgive you, and I love the ring. I gave him a tearful smile, gently squeezing his hand. Acosta released a heavy breath of relief, resting his forehead against my shoulder. Fuck, he groaned, now nuzzling his face into the crook of my neck. What are you doing to me, Millie? Just face it, you're going soft. I laughed, running my fingers through the hair at the nape of his neck. It was something he always liked. Only for you. He lifted his face, giving me that signature smirk coupled with a wink. The wink that always kills me, seriously. I think I died. Are you blushing? He laughed, reaching up to pinch my cheek. Stop. I swatted his hand away, but he was quick to grab my hand instead. It looks good on you. He leaned down, placing a kiss to the back of it right next to the ring. At first, I smiled at the cute gesture, but then we had to get down to business. But really, is it my only present? The seriousness in my voice caused him to laugh, and he pressed another kiss to my hand. No, but the next one is kind of for me too. He flashed me a grin before opening his nightstand again. What do you mean it's for? Oh. Acosta played with the item between his fingers, a small smirk playing on his lips. Nervous? PFTT? No, yes, sure. He moved closer to me, suffocating me with the scent of his cologne, which somehow lingered on his skin overnight. He makes our bed smell amazing, by the way. You know, I cringed at how breathless I sounded. You're supposed to come across mistletoe by accident. Not in Sicily, it's different here. He grinned, lying straight through his pearly white teeth. But the fact he'd just given me mistletoe as a Christmas present wasn't my concern anymore. I felt my body still becoming extremely rigid as he came in closer. The fact I wasn't moving away was obviously his cue to continue. I've never kissed anyone. My voice trembled with a tinge of vulnerability, something I hated, but Costa didn't seem to mind that I was nervous or anxious. Good, you're mine. He spoke so seriously, without a flicker of doubt as he took my hand in his. So you want it be special, Principessa? Every girl's first kiss is special. I whispered, watching as he brought my hand up to his lips. I only care about yours. He kissed the back of my hand and then the inside of my wrist, over my pulse point. My breath caught in my throat when he came in closer, placing a delicate kiss to my collarbone and then one to the hollow behind my ear. I stayed still as he pressed a kiss to my cheek. Then he used his thumb and forefinger to gently tilt my chin up towards him, keeping his hand there. From my cheek, he slowly moved his lips closer to mine. He kissed the corner of my mouth, letting his plump lips hover directly over mine. Then they connected. It was everything I ever dreamed it would be. It was slow, sweet, and sensual. He conveyed so much feeling and emotion as his lips molded with mine so perfectly. Even with my eyes fluttering closed, every single one of my senses was overwhelmed by him. It was all about Costantino. I could smell his cologne, I could feel the warmth of his body and his soft lips against mine. I could hear how fast my heart was beating in my chest, all because of him. His hand moved from my chin to my cheek, and he gently caressed my skin with his thumb while we kissed. Meanwhile, both my hands were on his firm, bare chest, trying to keep myself steady. When my eyes eventually fluttered open, I was met with those beautiful green eyes. They held so much emotion as he gently broke the kiss. Our lips brushed together and he kissed me one more time, a kiss that lasted another few seconds before he eventually pulled away. Our bedroom, perfectly lit with the morning light, was peacefully quiet. It was the best place to have my first kiss, our small bubble. Our eyes remained locked for what felt like an eternity as he moved his hand, tracing his thumb over my swollen lower lip. So fucking perfect. His voice was deep and husky, his thick accent sending shivers straight down my spine. I didn't waste another second before leaning in, this time kissing him with more urgency than before. And he gave me exactly what I wanted. I gasped into the kiss when he suddenly pulled me into him, our chests now pressed together as we kissed. One of my hands found the back of his head, and I tugged on his hair to pull him in closer to me. I might have been inexperienced, but I knew Costa well enough to know he liked it when I touched his hair. He's always found it soothing, and I guessed correctly when I tugged on it in such a sensual way. It was the first time I heard any kind of sound of pleasure coming from him, and it was one of the best things I'd ever heard. We continued until I was out of breath, unfortunately having to pull back from him before I died. Although it would be a good way to go out, while I struggled to catch my breath, Costa nuzzled his face into my neck, pressing a sweet kiss to my skin. I should have known you'd be good at this too. He spoke against my skin, gently sucking on it, causing me to gasp. A soft moan escaped my lips, causing his body to tense momentarily. Then he sucked even harder, knowing exactly what sound he was going to get. Fuck. I could listen to that all day. He continued to suck on the skin, his hand holding me close to him by my waist. Costa, if you say my name again like that, we won't be leaving this bed today, Millie. He growled out the words, pressing a final kiss to the skin of my neck. I don't think you'll be able to handle me. I wish I sounded confident, but I was completely breathless when he finished kissing my neck. Really. He smirked, moving my hair over my shoulder. He leaned in closer, bringing his lips to my ear. When I'm done with you, baby, you won't be able to walk straight. The words were enough to render me speechless, but the stupid wink was enough to kill me again. He released the most velvety chuckle when he saw the way my cheeks heated up, probably becoming redder than they already were. He leaned in to press one more kiss to my lips before he shuffled away from me, over to the edge of the bed. He gave me the perfect view of his muscular back while he checked his notifications on his phone. Meanwhile, I was fangirling on the inside that I just had my first kiss and my first make-out session. It doesn't matter how old you are, every single first is special. When I finally found the ability to get off the bed without melting into a puddle, I started making the bed. It was only when I got around to making Costa's side that he spoke again. Ready for your next present? He put his phone down, taking my hand to pull me over to him. Since he was at the edge of the bed, I stepped in between his legs while he placed his hands on my waist. What is it? I smiled. I knew he had more gifts for me. I'm not even ashamed. It's my first Christmas with my filthy rich husband. I expect a boatload of expensive presents. The jet is booked for 8 p.m. tonight. It will get you to Athens by midnight. Damien assured me the party will still be in full swing so you won't miss. He didn't get to finish his sentence because I tackled him onto the bed by accident. Costa laughed beneath me, waiting patiently for me to finish squealing excitedly. You're welcome, Principessa. His hands were firmly on my hips while I hovered over him. I'll need you to be back here on New Year's Eve. I know it's only a couple of days in Athens, but at least that's fine. I'll be back by then, but I thought you said I couldn't go. I figured it out. I just want you to be happy, baby. I am. I smiled, unable to contain my excitement. I leaned down to peck his lips, a peck which turned into a lot more when he deepened the kiss, rolling us over. That's how we ended up 20 minutes late to the special Christmas breakfast in the dining room. Unfortunately for me, everyone already knew why we were late. For 3 reasons. 1, Aiden said I was visibly glowing. 2, Acosta already told them he was going to give me mistletoe as a Christmas present. 3, my husband left a hickey the size of Alaska on my neck. The only people who weren't teasing me through breakfast were Riviera, Eduardo Accardi, and his wife. But it didn't matter because I was happy. Every time I made eye contact with Costa at breakfast, I was reminded of just how happy I was. That happiness increased when it came to giving gifts. Costa went all out, all out. I'm talking designer handbags, shoes, and way more diamond jewelry than I'd ever need. Apparently, he paid a personal shopper to go and get everything, but that didn't matter to me. I got the Christmas I deserved as a boss bitch. While I gifted everyone nice gifts, even Costa's father, I received some questionable gifts in return. Tristano gifted me a new laptop, even though my current one was exactly the same. Aiden gave me a €100 gift card to a milkshake shop. Giovanni got me a lingerie set that was 3 sizes too big for me, and Rocco reminded me that he was the reason I was going to be redesigning Costa's penthouse in New York. So he believed he didn't need to get me another gift. After the gift giving, we sat around for a while making small talk. I also took that chance to give Lula her Christmas gifts, a bunch of new toys which she loved. Then it was time for the big dinner that took place every Christmas within the higher ranks of La Familiga. As usual, Eduardo was at one head of the table and Costa was directly across from him at the other. I was seated on his left while his brothers and the twins were around us too. The dining hall was packed with people, all talking and laughing loudly. It was a mix of conversations about business and personal interests. Acosta was completely at ease in his element, chatting with the top officials and his brothers. Everyone respected him, and it showed in their nods and smiles. Midway through the dessert, I nudged his arm, interrupting a conversation he was having with Luca. I need to go and get my things. I spoke in a hushed tone and he nodded, giving me permission to leave the formal gathering. Yes, I need permission to leave the dining room whenever we have dinners with members of La Famiglia. The first time Costa told me that I absolutely gave him shit for it. Now I'm just kind of used to it. I could feel eyes on me as I walked down the length of the table towards the door, but the only pair that concerned me was Eduardo's. I accidentally made eye contact with him as I passed him, once again feeling an unsettling shiver run down my spine. Since I'd done most of my packing that morning, I quickly changed out of my formal dress and jewelry into a red fitted dress. It had to be comfortable to travel in, but still nice because, as Costa said, the party would still be going on for another few hours when I arrived home in Athens. My hair and makeup was all done, so I just grabbed my things and said a quick goodbye to Lula. Thankfully, I didn't have to go into the dining room to say goodbye to Costa. My presence in the doorway was enough to catch his attention. He excused himself, coming out into the quiet hallway where I was waiting. "I'm leaving now." I gave him a smile just as a butler came to take my bags to the car. "Are you sure you don't want me to come to the airport with you?" He frowned, watching the butler leave with my things. "No, I'll be okay. It's Christmas. You should stay with your family." As I spoke, I stepped closer, wrapping my arms around him in a hug. "You're welcome." He tightened his arms around me, extending the length of the hug for another few seconds. "Please be careful. Text me when you land." "I will." I smiled, pulling out of his arms. "I'll be on your jet with your pilots. You don't have to worry. I'll always worry about you." The weight of his words and the honesty behind them caught me off guard. And for the tiniest moment, I had the most unexpected feeling. I kind of wanted to stay with him, but I shook it off, pasting another smile onto my face. "Bye, Costa. Bye, baby." This ending makes me I want to cry and melt.